Right, last video for today for good measure. So, I'm not going to say names, but the people who were involved in this and, sadly had to witness and see this will know exactly who they are and what I'm talking about. So, at some point, I was staying with a family member, and unfortunately, back then, I placed a lot of trust in other people. And while I was at this family member's house, someone took it upon themselves to steal something. Now, when I was confronted with this, it naturally set me right off. I've talked about this, things would happen in my life and I'd get to the point where I couldn't accept it. I could not believe that this person who meant so much to me had come to me and confronted me with the fact that someone had stolen something from their house that I was being allowed to stay in because I had nowhere else to go at the time. And it fucking set me off. That's the easiest way to put it. But unfortunately, I wasn't thinking clearly. I wasn't able to control my emotions. I was badly affected by drugs and the breakup and disconnect of me and my partner at the time. And yeah, I snapped. I literally went from being completely normal, I was in the shower when I was confronted with this, literally. And I got out of that shower, and at the time I had a van, and this van was empty because I was driving around in it, whatever. Within 5 minutes, years worth of property of mine, so surround sound systems, TV, you name it, jewelry, clothes, fucking anything of value that I had, it was at this house. And the moment I was confronted with the fact that someone had stolen something from this house that I was staying at, I couldn't accept it, because that effortless depth of being able to think very quickly who I'd had in that house, it only left my so-called friends, people that I actually trusted. The only people I took to this house were people I trusted. And it was very quick in my mind who had the opportunity. So people that had been there while I had been in that shower, because that was the only opportunity anyone that I had taken there would have had to go into other parts of the house that they shouldn't have been. So I was able to work it out very quickly in my head that there was only 4 people out of, say, 7 people that I had taken to that house who would have had prior opportunity to steal something from a bedroom they shouldn't have been in. And because of that, not knowing which one of the 4 it was, I lost it, because I'm going to speak about this a bit later, but I was a bad truth seeker. So I'll do a video on that, because I think it's really important for people to understand how to think, act and conduct themselves when it comes to dealing with liars and people that steal from you, lie to you, mislead you, try and manipulate you. But anyway, back to the story. I flew out of that shower, and within 5 minutes I had rammed 3 clothes horses full of clothes into the car. Bags packed full of, you name it. Anything I owned was at this house at this point. Not set up like I was living there. I was only staying there temporarily. But this van went from being empty to full to the brim. One, I didn't pack things or stack things. I'm telling you, I was in and out of this house as quick as I could. I wanted everything of mine out of that house because of what had just been made known to me, that someone had stolen something from there. I made a commitment to myself that I'd be out of that house as quick as I could, and I wouldn't step foot back in there, because I was so embarrassed, so ashamed, so angry that someone had done that to this person who means the world to me. And basically, yeah, it's hard to acknowledge this, because again, this is dumb. I don't know how fucking dumb you can get, but I was as dumb as you could get. And I was, sadly, because of the no medication, underlying medical issues, the drug self-medicating with toxic drugs and stimulants and all these things, I flew out of that house in less than 5 minutes. Everything that was in that house that was mine was thrown into the back of that van, and it was now stacked up to the roof pretty much because, as I said, I didn't even pull the clothes horses down, nothing. I just threw it all in as quick as I could. I reversed out of the driveway, drove to the Noonan BP, literally pulled into the BP so fast that I clipped the petrol bowser that I ended up using to pump $40 worth of fuel straight, like my window was down in the driver's seat, and I just pumped, I went bang bang, hit 20 twice and pumped $40 worth of fuel straight over the headrest of the driver's seat onto all my stuff in the back of that van. After about 20 litres, I think the people inside realised what was happening and they've come running out with hazmat suit, like trying to put these hazmat suits on because they could see fuel coming out the sliding door, fuel coming out the back door and just dripping into the forecourt of the service station. And they would have been like, what is this fucking idiot doing? Long story short, when they come running up to me and tried to stop me, I wouldn't let them stop me. I threw the $40 at them and just went off my head, said, fuck off away from me sort of thing, you know, like, and I apologise for that. They didn't deserve to be spoken to like that, and they would have obviously been concerned for themselves and everyone else at the service station when some fucking wanker is pumping $40 worth of fuel into a car and not into a petrol tank, right in their forecourt. They would have been like, what the fuck is going on here? Anyway, I jumped in the vehicle, I put the pump back up, jumped in the vehicle, and I won't lie, it crossed, even though I was in a fit of rage, it crossed my mind because I was starting the car, the ignition barrel had been pulled out and I was starting it because I'd lost the keys, as drug addicts do, you lose everything. I was starting it with a flathead screwdriver and the ignition barrel, and as you know, like, you've only got to touch the back of that. Well, you probably don't know, but if you touch the back of the wires on the ignition barrel, if you've pulled it out of where it should be, it'll spark and short out. That's it. The car won't start again until you get it rewired. And I stuck the fucking screwdriver in there and I was like, just thinking to myself, am I even going to be able to do what I intend on doing if I start this car right here, right now, or is it just going to fucking blow up? Like, but common sense didn't prevail. I literally put my face out the window as I done it because I didn't want it to fuck me face. Pretty boy, retarded, I know. But yeah, wound my window down and just held it like that and put my face out the window and just went boom, started the van. It started, so I dropped the screwdriver, banged it into gear, took off out of the servo, and by the time I got 15 metres out of the servo, I was lightheaded, I was dizzy, I couldn't see, I was, because of the fumes, you know, the only window down was mine, and I just pumped 28, 29 litres worth of fuel into the back of the car, full of clothes and books and photo frame, you name it, everything I owned. And yeah, I was trying to drive away, but I was getting really lightheaded. And in the end, I had to literally hang myself out the window and try and breathe fresh air at the same time as driving up the road. But yeah, moral of the story is, I was confronted with something that I've spoken about this in other videos. When I was a drug addict and I was confronted with things that were out of my control, things that have already happened, but yet I had to try and fix it somehow and I didn't know how, or I didn't have a quick way of doing it, I'd get so overwhelmed that I'd snap and I'd just be like, fuck this. Like, long story short, I drove up the street. I drove probably 5 kilometres, no, it's not even 5 kilometres, probably 3 kilometres away from that service station, Noonan BP, up to Rochalee, and quite literally swerved off the main road, up the gutter, tried to roll the car once I got into the paddock, and I was just so angry and so distraught that someone had stolen something from this family member and this person that meant so much to me that I burnt everything I owned. In less than 10 minutes after I was told someone's stolen something from this house that I've let you stay in. And, you know, once I got out of that car, I literally put my hand over the headrest of the passengers of the driver's side, and anyone that's set fire to vehicles or vehicles, you'll know that if you've poured fuel inside that car, you better pour it all the way out and away from it. Because if you don't, if you pour even, say, a litre of fuel into a car and you leave the window down a bit, just one window, and then you light something on the outside and throw it in there, even if you throw it in there and you're looking at the window that it will fucking explode back out that window like a big gust of flames. well, Genius here wasn't thinking too straight, and don't get me wrong, I'd burnt my face, burnt my lips, burnt my eyes before. I'd done this dumb shit so many times that I knew what was going to happen, but I was so angry I just wanted to watch it all burn because it was all my stuff and someone had stolen something from someone that meant something to me. So I was just that angry that I couldn't control myself, and I put my arm in over the headrest. I pulled out a jumper that was soaking with fuel, and I lit it and turned around, and I was literally only a metre away from the driver's side window. And as it got like at the window, you can imagine 30 odd litres of fuel in a van with one window down. I backflipped across that paddock. It seared all my face, burnt my eyebrows, my eyelashes, you got no idea. And yeah, literally backflipped me across the paddock. And I just got up and walked away. Just had nowhere to live. I had a van. Everything I owned from my previous relationship was in that van. And because of that one simple thing, I decided that I'd just fill it full of fuel, drive it up the road, and fucking set fire to it. Like, talking to Streets the other night, it really helped me remember so many dumb, drug-fucked, crazy things that I did in states of mania, where I was just a maniac. Like, I was not with it. There's nothing, because mind you, there's 2 carloads of my friends following me. They followed me to the servo. They were screaming at me to stop doing what I was doing, and I blacked out. Like, I didn't even realise they were still there. They were screaming at me, parked away from the van, obviously, because they knew me and they knew I was going to do something stupid. But they were screaming at me, trying to tell me, Kane, stop, what's happened? Like, and I couldn't speak. I blacked out. I could not think. All I was thinking about was what had just been said to me 5 minutes prior, or at that point, a minute and a half, 2 minutes prior. And it was so overwhelming and powerful that I could not control myself. Again, I always emphasise this. Underlying mental health issues, unmedicated, self-medicating, and not taking my mental health serious at all. Like, I was clearly unwell. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you because it's another one of these examples where, like, that life catches up to you one way or another. And I acknowledge that if I had been how I am sitting here right now, I would have snapped still. Don't get me wrong. If someone steals something from someone that means something to me, I'm going to snap, regardless of if it's happened today or if it happened back then when I was on drugs. I'd snap. I'd go off my head. But would I do that? No, absolutely not. Would I conduct myself like a psychopath? Absolutely not. Would I put everyone's life at risk at that service station when I was sitting there thinking, is this car going to blow up right here in this service station next to the petrol bowser I just pumped it full of fuel with? Absolutely not. Like, I have logic and common sense and reason when I'm like this. When you're on drugs, you have none of those things. And if you do, you won't have them for long, I promise you. So, again, just, yeah, I know these stories may come across like entertainment, but I assure you, for me, when it was happening, it wasn't entertaining. And for the people that were watching me conduct myself in such a way, it wasn't fucking entertaining. I promise you that. All right, everyone, have a great day. Let's go. Training time.